What would your 13-year-old self think of you now? See? You still don't know what you're doing. I was supposed to be either a billionaire or a dictator ruling the world with an iron fist. And I was definitely going to have a redhead wife. 13-year-old me would find me to be an almost complete failure. Weren't you supposed to have your shit together by now? Wow. I really will get older. You make an awful lot of money to always be broke. But you're still going to enroll in Harvard Law School later, right? I've had 6, so I imagine he'd be pretty stoked with that. At 13 I wanted to be either a hitman or a truck driver. My 13-year-old self would think I'm a pussy. He would think I had turned into a bad person till I had a chance to sit him down. Then we would both be sad. My 13-year-old self would kick my ass for being a lazy ass and not living my dreams. I probably peaked at 13. He'd fucking hate me. But that's fine, because one of the perks of being an adult is no longer caring what 13-year-olds think. Well, fuck you ruining my GPA. 13-year-old me would be fucking wildly impressed with me, and maybe that's a problem. I wanted to be a rockstar so bad at 13. I've spent the last 20 years honing my skills on the bass guitar and have actually achieved a modicum of success as a musician in a regionally successful band. Like, not just playing bars, we are on the festival circuit. Some radio play. Pretty successful. Lots of hits on Spotify. But as a 36-year-old, I feel kinda like a joke. I have a career in insurance, but music is just all I want to do. I feel like people judge me for being a 36-year-old in a band. Edit. Thanks for all the positive feedback, everybody. I went through all of the hundreds of replies and I don't think I saw a single negative comment. You're all too kind. I'm kind of kicking myself for not using a throwaway for this comment. I didn't expect it to get this much of a response. Unfortunately, if I share the band name, I'll basically dox myself, as someone pointed out below. I mean, my real name is right on the front page of our website and on FB and IG. One of the things I love about Reddit is the anonymity. I promise, next post or comment I make about the band, I'll use a throwaway so you can hear the music and I can get the free plug. Haha. Wow, if you die in 3 years, you'll be almost exactly like dad. Disappointed and angry. I came out okay, but 13-year me had much higher expectations. The fact that I smoke weed would piss off 13-year me. Also that I'm not a professional hockey player, but see Monday. I think he'd be slightly disheartened, but not entirely disappointed. I've come a long way in some regards, and in others, I fall short of what I used to be. Disappointed. 13-year-old me wanted to marry this one girl since he was 10 years old. That girl is now my fiancé. Honestly, I'm not too worried about what that cynical little brat would think of me. I'm pretty sure she survived solely on hatred and apple juice, so her ability to hold a positive opinion on anything is questionable. Holy shit, when did you get tits? Disappointed that I'm not a fighter pilot. I tried real hard, but you couldn't get into military flight school unless you had perfect vision. I was barely over the line. That level of burnt out self-loathing happened faster than we expected, but it makes sense. At least I still have time and a chance to start over, starting next month. Edit. Tell the Facebook warriors telling me to start now. Yeah, I get the sentiment. I'm moving next month. I started making changes to get there last year. Nobody wants your Tumblr bullshit. Dang, you have friends now. I'm impressed. 13-year me, you aren't depressed anymore me. I never said that. I'm just not suicidal anymore. I do, however, want to be hit by a truck. I guess she would be proud that I'm on my way of beating my eating disorder and to finally love myself after I started to hate myself since 5th grade. Wow, I really let myself go, didn't I? You're bald and overweight. How did you get such a hot wife? My answer, charm, you little fuck. I think he'd be okay with who I am. He might not fully understand, but it wouldn't be negative either. Damn, I was having a perfectly fine day with my mediocre self, until you reminded me of how much of a disappointment I'd be to my former self. My 13-year-old self would be so freaking stoked at where I am in life. I have a degree in what I always wanted, I work for the Smithsonian, and I'm dating a tattooed bearded drummer. She would be proud of me for sure. Probably a bit sad. Used to be so full of everything but was humbled down along the way. My dreams are now smaller, but more in reach. I'm at my happiest at the moment. I'd probably think I'm actually pretty cool. If 13-year-old me was told this is how I'll turn out, I'd be so confused for a second and not believe it, but then it'd change my whole teenage experience once I realize that things do get better when you learn to love yourself. 18 now. I'd be pretty happy. I'd be surprised at a couple of the friends I had to let go, some of the new ones, but happy with my security. I think he'd be pretty okay with it. I'm not where I thought I'd be, but I've got a decent job which could become a good career. I've been involved with sports to a very high level, further than I thought I'd ever get, have an amazing fiancé, and still sometimes get to play video games. If that's not enough for 13-year-old me, well, he can only blame himself. I'm 25 now for reference. Wow, you gotten fat. Really, cause I was a stick growing up. And this is not the life I envisioned for you, which I would respond back with, I am going through a lot of adversities right now, but I am staying strong and I am blessed having my 2 kids, so we are doing just fine. She would be heartbroken that we're not married to Jordan Knight, NKOTB, and super confused about my love of craft beer. When I was 13, 20 years ago, all I wanted to do was to play video games, sleep with pretty short-haired girls and have a car. Check, check and check. I think he will lose his shit. Wow, you've got everything I want plus 50 pounds. My 13-year-old self would be impressed. The depressed 13-year-old me would be proud of the way I went out of my comfort zone and did the things old me was afraid to do. I talked to that girl. I got that starting football spot. I did what I wanted to do. I'd be proud of me. He'd probably wonder where the fuck our legs are. Sorry, kiddo. You're going to spend a lot less on socks when you grow up. Shocked into silence that I carry around a computer, TV, camcorder, camera, Walkman, Jetsons like video phone, casually in my back pocket. Damn, I'm gay. WTF. Why are you so fat? Young me runs circles around old me, points, laughs, too many chili dogs. Horrified. Shed cry. No one wants to grow up to be disabled. Wow, I'm f***ing gay. I mean, I'd be really grossed out that I'm fat. But also stoked on a few things. Maybe disappointed that I haven't finished college at 26 yet. Surprised that I'm married. But all in all, I think I'd be happy about where I'm at in life. I'd certainly feel a bit better knowing that I eventually get help for my anxiety and depression and that they don't ruin my life. I have a boyfriend ? Wow, the exact same. Wow, I'm gonna get really good at drawing. It was a year ago, but she would be happy confused that I didn't kill myself. I'm happy now : I think they'd be impressed with what I've done. Also confused at the fact I chose to become a teacher. I quiz I didn't stop jacking off several times a day. She'd probably hate me. You are exactly what we said we would never be. He'd think, this Reddit question is probably not something meant to be answered by a 13-year-old. Cool science job and you can dunk? Sign me up. She'd be really upset I haven't traveled more. She'd be psyched that I have a wonderful husband and 3 gorgeous babies, but she'd be horrified that I'm fat and ugly. I used to be so vain and obsessed with appearances. I'm mostly happy now. That's what matters. Honestly, it would be a mixed bag. He would be so happy to see that the future holds stability for him and his family. He would be happy to know that he finally made some lifelong friends, found his identity, and embraced being gay, especially since he was so isolated and afraid and adrift back then. He might be sad to know he developed anxiety and depression. He might not want to hear about how lonely he is in his early 20s, even with all of his cool and amazing friends. It might pain him to know how much grief he will come to feel over family and the struggles they have ahead. But he would definitely be proud that he overcame the struggles of his childhood that were still eating away heavily at him back then, to go on to start a fairly decent adult life. I'd love to go back and tell him to be afraid of far less than he was, to enjoy so much more than he has, and to step up and be a better brother and son than he had been. I just started working as a doctor last week. I think my 13-year-old self, after disappointing himself during some big exams he had to do when he was 12, would be quite surprised I managed to get to where I am. He didn't think very well of himself back then because of his grades, so I think he would be very heartened to see where I am now and how much potential he had in himself, once he realized that his biggest limiting factor was himself.